Alright, here you're looking at two new creations. They're very basic creations. They're for parents and children. It's to encourage parents to create tools that help their children learn at home. I've always said that VBA could be used by parents, anyone. Most people think that you have to work at a company and do all types of things for companies, but parents are probably the best people to be programmers because they have more control over how their child learns, how fast their child learns. There are some basic codes that you can use to create little templates and tools for your children. For instance, you can create a template similar to this. This right here is a very same template. This one right here actually will show, whenever a child clicks on one, it says a quarter, a dime, a nickel, and a penny are all what shapes. Now I have to change that because I was going to do something different, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to basically say click on the radio button to see the shape. So for instance, when I click on the square, an alert box pops up that says you've chosen a rectangle shape. And it appears there, a red square. Then I click on the circle radio button, and it says, an alert box pops up and says you've chosen an oval shape. And notice how the newest shape appears in front of the previous shape. And then the last one is a triangle shape, and it says you have chosen a triangle shape. Click OK, and it appears here. And it'll keep appearing, every time you click a shape again, it'll keep appearing. Now, this is great if you want to just go ahead and have your child insert a lot of things just by clicking the button. I think that's not really learning because it can confuse a child. So this one's not the very best one to actually teach a child about shapes and things like that. I'm going to show you the next one. I'm not going to save this. This one is one shape at a time. It's the very same one, but watch what happens. I'm going to click on the square, and notice how I got rid of the rectangle and replaced it with a square. I'm going to click on circle. It's going to get rid of that. See, so this is the best one to teach a child about shapes. And you can add anything you like. You can do shapes, you can do pictures of animals. For instance, you can have names of animals here that the child clicks on, and then by clicking on it, it will insert images of that elephant, and when he chooses another animal, it'll get rid of that picture and place the animal that he or she chose. So your child will learn very, very fast. VBA is a tool that can help you teach your child faster than any preschool or first or second or third grade teacher can ever teach them. You can use VBA to create tools to teach your child math, advanced math, while they're probably still 6 or 7 years old. A child, no matter what anyone says or thinks, a child retains what he or she sees over and over again. They're young enough where their brains absorb like sponges, and so if you create tools like this, you can help your child do well in school, and you don't have to depend on a teacher. And teachers are great for teaching your child, but you are your child's first teacher and tutor. And that is what I'm trying to encourage parents to do. That's why I want them to learn JavaScript or VBA, because it's very simple. I'm going to show you the code here so you see what I've done with this. Okay. There are basically three VBA codes, but they are what's called they're private subtags. They are based on the radio button. It's ActiveX. There are 3 codes, private subtags, and they're based on when you check one of the boxes or you click one of the boxes, the radio button, square, circle, whatever, whichever one you click, that particular ActiveX code will execute. Because I have the circle clicked, it executes the circle and the other. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up so you can see some of the code for yourself. Give me a second to find them. Let's see. Okay, this is it right here. The very first one that we showed you, where you see the very first one that we showed you, where you continue to see the shapes, you know, replacing each other, or not replacing each other, but populating itself in front of the previous shape. This is that code. And this, as you can see, this is the private sub option button 1. And go down here. This is the next one, private sub option button 2. It's basically for the radio buttons. And that's the third one right here, private sub option button 3. Click. So basically, whenever I click the third radio button, a message box will pop up and say you've chosen a triangle shape. Then what I've asked it to do is to create, you know, a shortcut for my doc is the shortcut for basically a document. Then I've asked it to create my canvas as the shapes that you're seeing. Then I set my docs to ActiveX, because I want whatever I do to populate the current and active document. I don't want it to open up a new document. That's why I said active document versus document. Okay. And then I set my canvas to the current active document. Then within that active document, I want it to add a shape. And the shape that I want to add is going to be within a canvas. I'm adding a canvas. And of course, I tell it what the criteria for the canvas will be. Now that I have my canvas, I've already named it. So my canvas, I'm asking it to wrap format type, you know, wrap inline. And then with my canvas, the canvas items inside that canvas, it's like an artist, a painter. You have a canvas and you draw things on there. So a canvas is nothing more than an area in which you have to actually put things on there or in there. In this case, we're putting things inside the canvas. And the canvas is very small, so only one shape will fit in at a time. So here I'm saying inside the canvas, with, you know, my canvas will have canvas items, and those canvas items will be to add a shape. The shape that I want to add for this third option would be a shape, the triangle shape. And I told it that I want it to be aligned from the left 10, from the top 10. The width should be, and height should be, the width should be 50, the height should be 60. And then I said, also with my canvas, the canvas item, when that canvas item appears there, it will be 1, the first canvas item. I wanted it to fill that canvas item with a color. And then within the field folder, I want the 4 color field, which is that color that you see in the center of it, not the border color, but the center color. And then within the 4 color folder, I want RGB, which means red, green, and blue. It's basic for the color. And then you type a space and an equal symbol, and then RGB again within parentheses, then red equals 255, green equals 0. So that's what, you know, those red, green, and blue that I have it, I've set it so that it blends to a particular color. And that's basically it. And each of those are done the same way. The only difference is the color has been changed on each of those. And here where you see option button 3, on the other one is option button 2, the other is option button 1. And when you look down here, everything is the same. Everything. Identical. So nothing has changed. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to the top. Here is where I have said I only want one shape to show at a time. So where you see private sub action button 1, you see the if statement. I've said if the active document's shapes, total amount of shapes count, is greater than 0, then I want you to delete that first shape in there, because it's not going to allow it to go to 2 shapes, because I said if it's greater than 0, delete that shape. Whatever shape is in there, delete it. And then do the message box and populate it with the shape for this particular option. And each of those are done the same way. When you come down here and you look at the next one, option button 2, it does the same thing. If the active document shapes counts is greater than 0, then active document shape 1, delete. So basically, let me go out of here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, for here, because I have the circle checked, and you see the circle there, so that means if I checked a square and I click this, it's going to delete that, because that is considered a shape. So, and when the code looks through the whole document, now when you look at that text box there, the text box is not really what you call a shape. It's an inline shape. An inline shape is anything that's a picture, word art, text boxes and things like that. But shapes are real shapes like ovals, rectangles, etc. So there's really only one shape in here right now, and that's that red rectangle down there. So whenever I click another option like the circle, once it populates and I click on the alert button, it's going to get rid of that shape, and it's going to populate it with the new shape. So this is the best way to learn. And the thing that I need to change, and I'm going to change it before I load this to the internet for everyone to download for free, is I'm going to change this question there, because that is no longer a question that applies to this particular template that I've designed. This one, I wanted it to be simple. I wanted it for parents to see it and then add things to it. If they choose to learn VBA, they can truly benefit their child and save a lot of money. A lot of parents spend a lot of money on games, very expensive games. When you can design and create games on your own, games don't have to be like a Xbox 360 or whatever you call those things. They don't have to be a Pac-Man game. They can just be very, very basic, simple things. You can actually create tic-tac-toe games, SOS games, checker games, anything that you want using VBA or JavaScript. But you have to take a little time to learn the language, and it's not going to take you that much time. So you decide. Do you want to continue to spend a lot of money giving it to other people to create things for you, or do you want to create things on your own to benefit your child? Thanks.